Maker's Mark has been around for a very, very long time. They were, if I'm not mistaken, they were the first distillery to ever make a wheated bourbon.
And what is a wheated bourbon?
A wheated bourbon basically means that it fits all the rules and regulations of your normal bourbon. So it's a 51% minimum, has to be corn in the mash bill. Where most distilleries use rye as their flavoring ingredient.
A wheated bourbon uses wheat as the flavoring
They
ingredient.
use wheat, correct.
Which is the second.
Then malted barley. What's interesting about Makers is they were the first ones to find a red winter wheat.
Yes.
So if you've ever explored wheat, there's a bajillion different kinds. And I forget the gentleman's name, but he and his wife actually, he had her bake all this bread with all the different types of wheat to find the right bread that he thought would work right for his family's recipe. Because these guys used to be, before they made Maker's Mark, they had a family recipe. They were distillers.
Yes.
Right? And so what he wanted to do was change that, found that red winter wheat is delicious.
And it is. It's soft, it's lovely.
And then came up with Maker's Mark. And then, God bless her, the wife was the one hand dipping these things in red wax, which
is why Maker's Mark is so well recognized. It's because of this wax, which is the best in the industry, because pretty much every other wax cracks and gets all over the cutting board.
Correct.
Now, I believe you and I have both been disappointed by Maker's Mark for the past 5 years.
So here's sort of the issue with Maker's Mark.
It's kind of the same issue that plagued Jack Daniels for a long time.
Sure.
In that when they did special releases, like with the license plate series, as you refer to it, they would hype it up with all these like different finishing staves that they would use. But when you crack the bottle open and take a sip of it, it tastes like Maker's Mark.
Some of it for sure. So Maker's in general is just, it's typically very, very red fruit, very soft because of the red winter wheat. It's very agreeable.
Yes, very much so.
Now, what you can come into sometimes with wheated bourbons is they can be a little funky. So some of them you can get.
You see that with Frey Ranch in their 4 grain.
Sure. So when I say funky, like on the nose and palate, it's a little. When I say barnyard, it's a little almost like wet alfalfa.
Yeah, wet alfalfa or wet hay. If you ever face planted into hay barrels like I have.
Right. So like some of the older stuff, like the Maker's Cask Strength 46, the license plate series.
The old offering. Yeah.
Some of that stuff is really good. You're just not going to find it. Yeah. So we saw the Maker's Cask Strength for $60 at that other store.
Yeah, just about.
So it depends where you're going to be at. But that was my whole takeaway from buying this. And I wasn't super excited because I'm like, I just paid close to $80 and it didn't do anything for me special.
And the reason why that's an issue is because with a release like the Heart, it's supposed to be unique because only enthusiasts are going to purchase that.
Typically, yeah. Your regular Maker's drinker is going to drink, standard offerings.
It's why Maker's releases a 1.75 liter of their regular offerings.
Sure.
Because you're going for volume on that.
Sure.
Whereas with a limited release such as this, you want it to taste like something special.
If you're in the whiskey world and you've got an LE, which is what we call them in the limited edition, you want it to be something special. So not to crap all over this bottle, because after we tried it, I wasn't happy. I corked it and I put it away. Then about a month or two later, I went back to it and I was like, okay, so the air got to it, it opened up, it was a little oakier, it tasted better.
It had more going on.
Yeah, I still wasn't super excited that I paid almost $80 for it. But
conversely, this release.
So 2025 edition, we tried it a week or so ago, and I was absolutely shocked. Now, you would have thought, CO, why would you have bought the 2025 when you didn't really love the 2024? And the 2024 got a little bit better.
Is it because you like to party?
I like to party, but I can't help it. I like Makers, and I want them to just do something a little different.
Going back to the Jack Daniels comparison, Jack Daniels was like that for a long, long time.
Right.
I don't think it was really until Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye, where you were really taken by them. And
that
was at the time their most unique offering.
That floored me. Yeah, and then obviously since then they've come out with a bunch of other.
And this isn't
really
to the
cool
same
stuff.
degree as the single barrel proof rye, but it is interesting.
But and it's to me, let's smell it because it's so much just right out of the bottle. There's so much more going on. Like when I smell this, I'm not thinking, oh, this is Maker's cash strength.
No, because it doesn't smell anything at all like
No.
Maker's cash.
No. It's still red fruit, but there's so much.
The red fruit is in the background.
There's so much oak tannin in it.
Yeah.
It's like the wood, but not in a bad way. It's not like a bitter, harsh tannic oak, not oak. It's like a sugary, sweet oak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and proof is going to be about the same. No, this is lower. This is 109.
But it smells a lot
It's
higher.
Yeah, very.
Likely because of those oak tannins, eh?
Yeah, it's sweet, oaky, little red fruit, but just something a little different, which is awesome.
Something that's very different.
Man, it drinks spicy, even though there's no rye in it. At that proof, it actually drinks hotter than the proof. Little drying, obviously because of all the oak. So if you're super sensitive to oak, feel how it like kind of tightened up the sides of your tongues.
Yes.
Your tongue, not you have two tongues, but one tongue. But
I don't have two
yeah,
tongues.
it tightened that up. So, but if you're a Maker's fan and you want to see what they're doing, like this is actually really cool.
It is cool.
And the fact is, I didn't see it. I only saw it at the one store here, and they had a bunch of it, but it was just sitting there. Partially probably because it's a $78, $79, $80 bottle.
I mean, even the license plate series, if you see it at like Total Wine a couple of years back, they would have like bottles upon bottles.
Yeah.
Because Makers, with this release, I think they'll be able to break into the same market that Jack Daniel's has found, where they appeal to both the, for lack of a better term, bottom end of the market and also the top end of the market.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting enough that if you're a whiskey dork or even if you're not, like I consider it's not a bad word, I consider myself a whiskey dork. But,
you certainly are a whiskey dork.
But if you like Makers and you've ever explored, now to be fair, if you've only had the standard,
this would be too much.
The standard offering, that's probably, it's going to be a little different. If you've ventured into the 101 proof, if you've ventured into the cask strength,
you may have an idea of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, you understand that, it's the same basic product. It just there's gonna be variances. I think that personally, if you're like me, where last year you were a little disappointed,
you should give this one a shot.
With the 24, you should definitely give the 25 a shot.
And I think if Makers continues to follow this path, as indicated by their 2025 release, then they will be in a better position than a couple years ago when they were just releasing single barrel after single barrel for any number of stores.
Bro, I don't even think they were single barrels.
They aren't?
No.
So they just had a store's name on it?
It's just blends. Well, have we ever had it?
We have together, but it's been a long time.
You know what? I think you're right. I think we've had. I don't.
You're right. It doesn't say single barrel.
It doesn't say single barrel. I just think they're store picks.
Man, that was a terrible idea.
No. But I was confused too because
you would think that it's a single barrel,
right? Now
because that's the standard option if it's going to be a store pick.
Well, but you got to remember too with the license plate series. Show that to the camera real quick so people understand. With all the different staves, and you'll see these at a lot of stores.
Yes.
The issue is that they can't be single barrel. Well, I guess they can be single barrels if you add wood staves to them, but I've never been on a pick from Makers, so I don't know if the base whiskey is blended already before you put the wood staves into them. So they could have like a base whiskey, right? Just like when you do like an Eagle Rare pick, for instance, you know, well, yeah, even Eagle Rares, I don't know. Now I'm just talking on my butt, but it doesn't matter. But I've never seen a maker's like single barrel. Like I've never seen it.
It sounds as if the blend is dumped into one barrel, and then the staves are added.
Then you add the wood
But
staves.
it's probably already a blend if it's been extracted before. It's not like they would take it from a barrel. They would take a single barrel and then transfer it to a different single barrel.
No.
Weird.
No. So that's the thing that happens like with Buffalo Trace in particular, with like a lot of the Buffalo Trace, obviously Buffalo Trace, but like the Eagle Rare picks and stuff.
That makes sense.
It's not a single barrel per se. They give you the base, and then, you know, especially with makers, then you can add, because I've seen it online, and then you go in and you taste different, you know, wood stave finishes, and then you can make your own blend, and then that's when they put, you know.
But it was so on profile, that's why I prefer to see makers move in this direction rather than a license plate series. Because the license plate series, our big issue was it was way too on profile.
And you have to be like a real nerd. Like at the store, when I worked there, like I had to really work, because we would have 4 different store picks with all the different wood staves. And even as a whiskey dork, I'd have to really sit there and really think about what I was drinking.
And I imagine that's because of the chemistry of it, because how much is one stave going to do?
Well, yeah, how much is one stave going to do? But then with your palate too, like I don't want to sit around all day, every day, and have to really think about like a whiskey. Like this is actually fun because you pour that in your glass, and
it's obviously different.
You smell it, and you're like, this is wildly different than any maker's product we own.
Yes.
And that's the fun thing about things like this, which is why, like I said, people love the heart. Some people loved it. Some people didn't love it.
We weren't a fan of it because it was too on profile.
On profile, but then as it opened up a little bit,
it had a little bit more oaky. But this I think is going in the right direction.
Yeah, just right off the rip when we had a fresh crack, it was like, holy crap! Like good job.
It's different.
Yeah, like good job. So I would say if you can find the 2025 and you didn't necessarily love the 24, and you like that oaky, that sweet, almost candy oakiness with still a little bit of red fruit, the 2025 is awesome.